Yeah, Bante, I have some question. Does euthanizing increase karma in Buddhism?
Euthanizing.
Kayak ada yang misalnya hewan dia sakit keras, jadi dia harus dihukum mati gitu.
Yeah, I get it. Is the audience aware about honor killing? You lot of pain can write down that I want to die, and then the doctors will comply with that. This is happening in some developed countries, Switzerland, Canada. It can happen. But the problem is, if the patient is a Buddhist, if the doctor is a Buddhist, then how do we look at it? Okay. You want to translate for the question? Yeah.
Pertanyaannya mengenai euthanasia itu kalau yang Aurel tanyakan itu konsepnya mengenai hewan, ya kan? Tapi Bante ada bring up the another issue, bukan hewan aja nih, ada juga manusia. Misalnya nih kita udah sampai di ada yang masuk ke rumah sakit, ya kan? Dia udah koma, dia udah parah banget, dia udah sekarat, ya kan? Akhirnya banyak juga ada kejadian yang dia udah pakai lifeline, ya kan? Dia udah pakai alat doang nih hidupnya. Ini mau dicabut nggak? Kalau kita cabut kan berarti membunuh, gitu. Ketika pasiennya itu Buddhis dan dokternya ini Buddhis, gimana? Jadi bukan kita memikirkan untuk yang masalah hewan ini, malah Bante mikirin ada yang lebih parah lagi yang kita harus pikirin adalah mengenai manusia, gimana?
I look at this question this way, euthanasia. One is, as a Buddhist, it is not very good to end the life in the face of anything, because we don't know who will we become after we die. That's number one.
Oke, yang pertama sebagai Buddhis ya dasarnya kita harus pahami tidak baik untuk membunuh, mengakhiri hidup seseorang atau suatu makhluk kayak gitu.
Maybe I would advise them to take a painkiller and then keep the living going on.
Mungkin Bante akan menyarankan ya udah dikasih anti sakit aja, ya diterusin aja hidupnya. Kalau misalnya masih setengah mati ya udah deh setengah mati deh, yang penting nggak mati.
Because many people are doing that already. Some patients are advised by the doctor, you have to go through knee knee surgery. But if you don't want, I can give you the painkiller. Which one you choose? Sometimes if after the knee surgery, you may have some side effect. Some patients choose not to go for the surgery beyond the painkillers. So in the same way, the only benefit that someone can take to go for the euthanasia is that now I am very painful. I don't want to live anymore. I want to die. If that is the problem, as a Buddhist, rather than ending the life, which we never know who will we become, better to go on a painkiller management and then to do more good karma. So that is my suggestion for this euthanasia. Idea is not a Buddhist idea, to my understanding, because the countries that are imposing this euthanasia don't believe the rebirth that much. They have their one life, you die, you go to the heaven. But in Buddhism, we believe this next life. People want to go for it just because they don't like to suffer. That means you have a certain anger towards it. So try to balance the pain management and then to do more good karmas and then die at a time you cannot control yourself. So to my understanding, euthanasia is not the best choice for that problem.
Oke. Jadi kalau misalnya approach dari Bante adalah seperti orang yang misalnya kakinya ada masalah nih, ya kan? Apakah mau diamputasi atau kalau misalnya nggak diamputasi, akhirnya semua kakinya ini sakit-sakit setiap hari. Kalau sakit gimana? Ya akhirnya dikasih alat peredam sakit kayak gitu. Setiap hari makan kayak gitu. Nah, jadi sama kejadiannya seperti yang mengakhiri hidupnya, mengakhiri hidup seorang pasien, Kalau bisa, kalau dari versinya Bante ya udah diterusin aja kayak gitu, sebisa mungkin diterusin, ya kan? Kenapa? Karena konsep euthanasia ini sendiri sebenarnya sepemahaman Bante itu bukan konsep seorang Buddhis, yaitu agama lain. Kenapa? Karena di agama lain itu berpikir ya kehidupan itu selesai di saat ini saja. Jadi daripada dia masih menderita, ya udah kita selesaikan biar dia tidak merasakan sakit lagi. Padahal kalau di dalam konsep Buddhis kita ada karma dan ada kehidupan yang selanjutnya. Nanti orang yang kita akhiri ini di kehidupan selanjutnya bagaimana? Kayak gitu. Makanya kalau dari approach dari Bante, pemikiran Bante seorang Buddhis ya idealnya adalah ya udah kita coba usahakan aja lanjut sampai sejauh apa yang kita bisa. Jadi menggunakan cara-cara painkiller atau yang pereda sakit aja, nanti akhirnya dia akan semakin ada waktunya, semakin waktunya masih bisa diperpanjang, dia berbuat karma baik dan nanti akhirnya meninggal pada waktunya sendiri, kayak gitu.
Oke.
Bagaimana kalau dari segi
Take the
kita
mic.
mempertahankan hidupnya, sedangkan pada saat itu juga kita tidak mempunyai biaya untuk mempertahankan hidup.
Okay. The question is what if we as the family do not have enough money to prolong the patient life? Yes, ideally we want to prolong his life or her life, but we cannot afford it anymore.
So you are again asking me to say that we have to stop it, let the patient die. Okay, here's the thing. It's not one person's problem. All poor people who cannot afford medical expenses of a loved one, have to go through this issue. Now, in that case, I think they will do their best. They will apply for grants, they will apply for something, they will go for a line of credit, they will do whatever they can to the best of them. So then each situation is very different. So then according to their affordability and everything, if they cannot do anything, they will decide what to do. But I cannot give a pre-idea. If you don't have money, let him die. We cannot give that idea. So I think every family is trying to do the best. And then at the time, they cannot do anything anymore. Not that they want to let him die, because their opportunities are very close at that point, limited. Now think about another example. One of your family members in a what do you call? What do we call that? Life support.
Yeah, that's it.
Life support. It's not that you don't have money; you have lots of money. But now patient is not. I think maybe the brain is already dead on life support. Doctors are saying it doesn't matter to have him like this. So, you have to discuss together and then to come up with a decision. So the family has to decide very well and then to decide what to do. So that decision they will be taking with lots of difficulties. So finally they have to take the life support off, because they know even they keep him or her in the bed, she won't come back. And on the other side you have to spend a lot of money. Somebody has to make a decision. So it's not a killing, it's something that you understand with the medical prescriptions. Yes. But if you decide we don't want to spend money, let him die, let her die, that's a very bad idea. Right? That's going to be a very bad idea. So I think from the difficult people's point of view, I think they are doing the best that they can do to protect that patient. But in the event they cannot do anything anymore, they will decide what to do. So if they ask the same question from me, what I say is do the best. Oh, as other Buddhists, why don't we help them? Why do we let someone die? We are Buddhists, we should support each other, right? I think Buddhists don't support each other that much. Not that much compared to other XYZ things. I tell you one example, but don't take it offensively. can translate after. There was a flood came into a certain area in a country, in this area. So now one lady is very much involved with the temple, the Buddhist temple. The next to her house, neighbor, is another lady involved in the church. So the flood came in today, even when the flood was there, within couple of hours, people in the church came to the house and then cleaned everything. Her house, her friend, neighbor's house, church people, fellowship. But nobody came to the Buddhist friend's house to do any cleaning. She's very worried. I go to the Vihara temple, I support, but people are not with us. Why is it? So we have a problem with our support system because we always think about our own enlightenment. I want to become a Sotapan, I want to attain Nibbana. I don't want other people to become successful. Where is our support system? So I think for these questions, we also have a role to play. We have to support others. We Buddhists don't do enough support for others. Not to others, even to our other fellow Buddhists. Even some are doing, not enough. We don't feel it. That's one reason we can use to bring young people into the temple. Now all these temples everywhere in the world, they are saying, young people don't come to the temple. What's going on? Young people don't like to come to the temple. Why? You have to make them feel something. If they feel everybody's concerns are taken care by other people, temple is not a place to worship. Temple is a place where we have the support for anything in our life. We have to respect that. Not even we come to the temple and respect the Buddha. That is also the place of our support system. So I think we Buddhists have to go beyond our limited way of our practice, self-practice. We should do these things. At the same time, we have to help other people at the right time. Not giving only food. We have to help them when they want. And that lady was very disappointed and actually shared with me. Nobody even asked me whether you have a shovel. I mean, if she wants to do it by herself. But those people, 10, 20 people came to the other neighbor's house, shovel and then everything done, and then they went. So they have a very good, maybe we have to learn from the church. Probably. Yes.
Oke. Jadi untuk menjawab yang kalau misalnya dia udah sampai di life support, ya kan, apakah kita cabut kalau kita nggak ada duit lagi, kita nggak ada dana, ya kan? Jawabannya kembali lagi semua situational. Jadi kembali ke situasi masing-masing. Apakah kita sudah melakukan hal yang terbaik? Apakah kita sudah benar-benar mencari memang sudah titik terakhir, kita sudah berusaha mencari dana dari sana sini, melakukan penggalangan dana, tapi memang tidak ada. Kalau memang tidak ada, ya biarkan itu. Kembali keputusannya itu bukan ada di Bante yang mana yang lebih bagus, tapi keputusan terbaik adalah tergantung dari keluarga itu sendiri. Keluarga itu sendiri yang harus memutuskan apa yang terbaik untuk situasi tersebut. Tapi Bante berpesan, jangan juga kejadiannya adalah, wah mereka ada duit nih, cuma sayanglah dikasih di life support sehari berapa ratus juta habis, ya kan? Ya udahlah mending diselesain aja lah langsung lah daripada padahal duitnya ada. Nah itu konsepnya berbahaya kayak gitu. Nah jadi yang pertama adalah kita melakukan yang terbaik. Kalau memang sudah sampai buntu, ya terpaksa di keluarga itu harus ada yang memutuskan apa yang terbaik di situasi tersebut. Tapi ingat, harus berusaha dulu. Nah kayak gitu. Terus ada juga Bante ada cerita di negara lain, ada satu ibu-ibu yang sangat rajin ke vihara dan ada satu ibu-ibu yang sangat rajin ke gereja kayak gitu. Jadi ketika ada acara, kita bisa melihat, kita bisa belajar sebenarnya. Kita bisa belajar dan kita melihat bagaimana ekosistem di agama tetangga kita itu bisa sangat suportif satu sama lain. Ketika ada acara, ada masalah, bisa bergotong royong, bisa datang saling membantu. Sedangkan kejadiannya di ibu yang agama Buddha itu, malah dia sendirian ngerjainnya semuanya sendirian kayak gitu. Akhirnya apa? Kita mempelajari ini ada salah nih, ada salah. Kita harus pahami ada something wrong untuk di agama Buddha ini. Kenapa? Bukan di agama Buddha yang salah, di umat-umatnya. Karena umat-umatnya kebanyakan terlampau fokus untuk diri sendiri. Bagaimana saya bisa mencapai kesucian atau tingkat kesucian untuk diri saya sendiri. Tapi melupakan, kita sering melupakan teman-teman seagama kita kayak gitu. Jadi juga ada permasalahan. Banti sebutkan kenapa nih ada vihara yang bilang kenapa vihara saya sepi, nggak ada anak muda yang datang kayak gitu. Kita harus telaah sebenarnya kenapa, apa alasannya. Karena mungkin apa yang dicari dari agama dari anak-anak muda itu nggak ketemu di vihara. Jadi mungkin misalnya apa, oh jangan di vihara itu kita bukan hanya untuk ritual saja, tapi kita juga sebagai komunitas, ya kan, sebagai saling membentuk. Nah, jadi bukan hanya bagus ritual, tapi bukan hanya itu saja. Karena apa? Mungkin hal-hal mendukung komunitas itu yang dibutuhkan oleh generasi-generasi muda kayak gitu. Nah, jadi sama seperti kita melakukan kebajikan, ya kan, di agama Buddhis ya bukan hanya kasih makan-makan aja kayak gitu. Tapi ada banyak loh yang kita butuh, kita sadari, kita ayomi bersama.
Okay, we can take one last question before we transfer the good karma.
Ada.
Last question.
There are one question. One people give their question for me to ask.
Okay. Maybe after her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Silahkan.
Yes.
Apakah di dalam agama Buddha mengenal konsep mujizat?
Okay. In Buddhism, is there a concept of miracle?
Yes and no.
Ya dan tidak.
It depends. It depends on the situation. What kind of miracles are you thinking?
Seperti apa konsep mukjizat yang dimaksudkan, dipikirkan?
Ya seperti misalnya mukjizat, misalnya orang ini sakit, sudah tidak ada tertolong lagi gitu. Kedokteran pun sudah bilang, oh ini tidak tertolong gitu, dan tiba-tiba seperti sudah mukjizat sembuh.
Okay. As for example, someone who ill very badly, and then the doctors already say there are no end, there are no other solution, but suddenly he or she become healthy again.
It's not a miracle. It is his own karma.
Jadi itu
for us it's a miracle because we don't know what happened. Because we don't know what happened. It's a miracle for us. But there is a reason for why he or she got back to normal. We don't know. We call it miracle. But nothing is going to work without good karmas. Good karmas.
Jadi di mata kita akan melihat itu mukjizat. Tapi sebenarnya kita nggak tahu dia itu sudah ada banyak karma baik sebelumnya. Jadi karma baiknya berbuah pada saat itu. Bagi kita yang tidak memahaminya, kita melihat itu mukjizat. Tapi sebenarnya itu ada alasan. Alasannya adalah apa? Adalah buah karma baiknya berbuah. Kayak gitu.
Sometimes there are people who think in the morning, today something good happened to me. Today, I don't know, something good should happen to me. See, good things will happen to that person. Why? There are some non-humans, deva, protect that person. Those devas help that person. For devas to help, devas should recognize you as a good person. But for you, it's a miracle. But from the Buddhist point of view, it's not a miracle. Because of your good karma, they want to help you. It's not a miracle in real life. But for us, why these things are happening? Surprising. But it is because of your good character, good karmas, these devas like you.
Oke, jadi kita bisa aja kita berdoa di pagi hari, ya kan, berdoa kepada para dewa untuk kita bisa sembuh, misalnya dalam konteks yang tadi kan bisa sembuh. Dan memang di agama Buddha juga mengakui dan mengetahui ada makhluk-makhluk lain seperti para dewa gitu. Para dewa memang dapat membantu Anda. Namun untuk para dewa mau membantu kita, para dewa itu harus paham dan mengetahui dan mengakui bahwa kita merupakan orang yang baik. Orang baik itu gimana? Yaitu dari karma kita. Kita banyak berbuat karma baik. Kayak gitu. Jadi dewa itu bisa membantu kita jika karma baik kita ada. Jadi memang dari doa kita berharap kepada para dewa, ya kan, dewa itu bisa membantu kita mengabulkan dalam tanda kutip. Nah, tapi itu semua apa? Berkat dari karma-karma baik yang kita lakukan.
Okay, any more questions?
Let me ask you the question that
yeah.
the people give me.
Yeah.
Let me find. Okay, when someone dies, where do they go after death?
It depends on the last thought and the majority of the good karma or bad karma he or she did. So the place will be created depending on the karmas. We don't know where it's going. Definitely among 31 places, there are 31 places. 6 heavens, 20 Brahma worlds, human world, and then the 4 hells. So definitely among one of them.
Jadi jawabannya adalah tergantung dari pikiran kita. Pada saat kita meninggal, pikiran terakhir kita itu bagaimana? Apakah pikiran itu kita positif, bahagia, sedih, negatif, kayak gitu. Itu mempengaruhi, dan mayoritas dari karma yang dia lakukan, baik masa kini maupun masa lampau, akumulasinya bagaimana? Apakah karma baik atau karma jelek? Begitu. Jadi tapi pastinya dia akan hidup kembali di dalam dari salah satu dari 31 alam kehidupan, kayak gitu. Baik alam yang di atas kita, alam manusia, maupun alam yang lebih rendah daripada kita.
That's all. Okay, any other questions before we wrap this up?
Ada pertanyaan terakhir lagi, silakan.
Apakah kalau seperti pertanyaan tadi,
Can you please take the mic?
dananya telah terhenti, dan mereka memutuskan untuk mengakhiri. Apakah itu terjadi akusala karma?
Okay, so continue with the previous question. The life support, and then they already try their best, but there are no money, and they decide the best solution is to unplug the life support. So did they do akusala karma?
No,
Tidak.
because doctors have prescribed what to do. They have to go by the medical prescriptions. At that time, you cannot go and take it off. Doctors are trying to tell you as a corporate decision, this patient is not going to live anymore without the life support. So at that point, doctors have to tell, because there are other patients who have to be on life support. Doctors can save other patients. So when the doctors are telling the family, you have to make a decision, then you have to make a decision. It's a very difficult situation, very difficult, but that's how it works. It's not in the best interest of you. You are not killing. You know it will happen, death will happen. It's not a killing, because we understand what the doctors are telling us. We don't know what to do otherwise. So it's not a akusala at that point.
Jadi ketika kita sudah berusaha semaksimal mungkin di titik terakhir, tidak bisa, ya kita itu bukan membunuh lagi, tapi memang itu sudah melanjutkan dari memang kesehatan dari dokter, terminologi dari kesehatan yang ada, ya kan, karena memang orang ini memang ya sudah mau meninggal begitu. Jadi tinggal dilanjutkan prosedur yang ada, semuanya itu sudah kembali lagi bukan pembunuhan dari kita, karena memang orang ini memang sudah akan meninggal.
If we become unwise, we have to run away from the hospital with our family member living in the intensive care. We cannot do that. We have to make a decision, right? We cannot run away from some situation in our life. We have to make a decision.
Jadi kita juga harus membantu. Ini memang suatu kondisi yang susah, sama-sama susah, baik dari keluarga maupun dari dokter yang untuk menyampaikan. Semua memang dalam kondisi yang sama-sama berat, namun ya kita juga sebagai anggota keluarga mempunyai kewajiban untuk membantu mengambil keputusan tersebut. Meskipun seberat apapun itu, kita harus bijak juga ya. Ini adalah kita mau juga membantu kerjaan si dokter. Jadi akhirnya mau diapain kayak gitu kan. Nah, jadi kita harus memandang segala sesuatu dalam lebih bijak, lebih bijaksana. Kita nggak bisa, oh ya udah mau dicabut atau enggak biar saya nggak dapat karma atau apa, ya udah saya tinggalin kayak gitu, nggak begitu juga kayak gitu. Yang penting kita udah berusaha semaksimal mungkin. Kalau memang sudah tidak bisa atau apa ya, dari anggota keluarga berkewajiban untuk memberikan menginformasikan si dokter apa tindakan terbaik dari keluarga tersebut.
Alright, I think that's all, right?
Masih ada lagi?
Any more
mungkin?
questions?
Sudah? Ada pertanyaan lagi sebelum ditutup?
Alright, I think that's all. So then we are going to go to the transference of merits. I wanted to be very thankful to Brother Albert for translating the whole talk. Very, very much thankful for doing that. Otherwise, there may be some misunderstanding happening. So now let's go to the transference of merits, and hopefully you will brief at the end. I will do the transference just to minimize the time.
Kita akan melakukan pelimpahan jasa.
May all the good karmas we all been making today. Some of you participated in the retreat, meditation retreat for 3 hours. You practice breath meditation, walking meditation, and engage in a Dhamma sharing about what is meditation, how to meditate, what was the way Buddha asked us to meditate. And just a while ago, we started giving a Dhamma talk about how to practice Dhamma without being bothered by perfection, without being a perfectionist. We were looking at 2 areas: energy, how to balance out our energy, and how to practice sila, discipline, and without becoming a perfectionist. And then we, at the end, we discussed a lot of other questions. May all these good karmas we be making today be transferred to all the departed ones who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You want to brief it?
Semoga semua karma baik yang kita telah lakukan, baik dari siang tadi, di mana kita melakukan meditasi, lalu kita melanjutkan dengan malam, sesi malam ini kita sharing dharma, kita membahas mengenai bagaimana kita melakukan atau menjalankan jalan dharma kita tanpa dipermasalahkan oleh perfeksionis. Kita tidak perlu harus sempurna kayak gitu. Jadi semoga semua pertanyaan-pertanyaan kita, jawaban-jawaban kita, dan karma-karma baik yang kita perbuat hari ini dapat dilimpahkan kepada sanak keluarga kita, dan semoga semua makhluk berbahagia. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyateyo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyateyo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyateyo. At the same time, may Deva, Naga, Mahitaka, who are protecting us, share all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they protect all of us for good health, quality of life, prosperity and safety. My trip to Padang was initiated by Mrs. Aman. We are friends from Canada, and her son Calvin was a friend of mine, and that's how we got connected. And we had an idea just a plan after we met in Bali for the wedding that maybe we make a trip to Padang and then to be with Bante Palo's temple, and it became a reality at the end. And that's how I got to know a couple of them, and Sister Megawati and some of them, and Sister Ho, we met even in Bali. So then finally we made it to a meditation retreat and a Dhamma talk, maybe something else in the future as things comes by. So I think most of you learned a lot of Dhamma things today afternoon and now. So very thankful to all of you, the management of this temple. And now I'm going to think about, may all the good karmas that we're making today be upon all these people who have made this visit possible, starting from Mrs. Aman, Mr. Irwin Aman, and 2 daughters and son and that family, and all of us, starting from Bante Palo. May all you be always protected by Devanaga Mahidika for good health, quality of life, prosperity, safety. May Devanaga Mahidika particularly bless our Dhamma journey. May our Dhamma journey become a consistent Dhamma journey, not a stagnant Dhamma journey. Finally, may Devanaga Mahidika attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Translation follows.
Ya, Oke. Intinya Bante berterima kasih atas kesempatan yang juga sudah diberikan, bisa hadir di sini, ya kan, bisa bertemu dengan kita semua, bisa berkesempatan untuk sharing dharma. Semoga semua karma baik yang kita lakukan ini dapat membantu kita, dapat disebarkan kepada para dewa, naga dan yang maha sakti, agar dapat melindungi kita semua. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Special thank is due for you. Earlier plan was Mrs. Aman is going to take care, and she was doing that, but halfway she thought maybe you are the one who is. I felt that you are translating better. I don't know what you are translating, but I hope. But I picked up certain words, and I'm sure that otherwise they will be questioning you, right? And then you've done a very good job. Thank you very much. And at the same time, we are making a great wish. May we be able to be in the company of Kalyana Mitras, noble friends, till we attain Nibbana. Kalyana Mitras are very, very important. Our fellowship has to be with noble friends, so that we are going to make a wish. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamu satang samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattaya. Finally, may all the good karmas which we've been doing today, this whole Thursday, we're doing lot of good karmas. May all these good karmas be upon all of us, and then at the same time support, help us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Blessings follow. Sabbitiyo vivanjantu sabbarugo vinassatu mate bhavat vantarayu sukhi dighayu bhava bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te abhivadana siddhissa niccang vaddhapachayino cattaru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you always make this success. May you have patience, determination to meet and overcome all inevitable problems. Finally, may all good karmas always follow you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now our Dhamma sharing is over. What I am suggesting is that let's have a group photo now. Get ready for the group photo. After the group photo, I am going to tie your strings. Mrs. Aman, are you going to talk something? Huh? Yeah, please take the mic. Take the mic, please.
Nggak kedengeran.
Yeah.
Jadi sesi
Somebody pass the mic.
Sesi kita sekarang udah selesai, namun Bante bilang kita ambil foto bersama dulu.
Teman-teman semua, kita minta terima kasih sama Bante dengan mau 3 kali ya. Thank you so much for Bante dan Lima who already come to Padang to visit us and share Dhamma and teach us how to meditate. Thank you, thank you.
Please get ready for the group photo. In the meantime, I go to the room, bring the what do you call tridhatu, the strings.